Hello, my name is Trevor Bankston, and welcome to the Siemens webinar. Today, we will be learning about Intosite. In today's companies, there are many different sources of information. Large factories, widespread engineering communities, and information is always changing. For an individual, this may require multiple contacts around the globe searching multiple different applications, and can lead to some confusion in making sure that they have the right information. Not to mention it takes a good bit of time. This is where Intosite can help. Think of Intosite as your entryway or your window into your digital twin. To take a step back and understand Intosite at a high level, Intosite is a SaaS-based solution or a software as a service. Intosite strives to bring together the factory visualization, the visual collaboration, and manufacturing information together into a single arena. As you can see in the clip playing in the lower portion of the slide, Intosite provides an intuitive way to locate, utilize, and collaborate on the desired data in a common virtual meeting place, and aids manufacturers in getting the right and most up-to-date information to the needed individuals in a simple and intuitive fashion. Now, as we go through this presentation and learn about Intosite, I want you to keep these 4 building blocks in mind. Those would be navigate, interrogate, integrate, and collaborate. First off, we have our navigation. This is the idea that we can navigate around the world and locate our desired factory. We can also see things such as maybe where suppliers might be located or what resources we have located around our factory. But we can also navigate virtually inside our factory. We can locate a specific station or zone, maybe a piece of equipment, or anything else that we are looking for without the need to have to physically be there. And virtually, we can also get the idea of what else is around the desired area that we are looking for. Next, we start to interrogate the information that we have available. We can start to understand, once we get to our desired location, what is located at that destination, and what is available for me to utilize. This could be things such as an image or recording of a process, maybe an asset card or details of the equipment present, maybe even a maintenance chart or a service manual for the equipment that's on the floor. Then we get to our integration block. This is where we want to start to bring together multiple different sources of information to allow navigation and access of this data in a plant-based context. We also want to integrate to systems and databases already implemented within a company and provide the linkage to the data in a quick and easy context. Things such as work instructions or engineering data can be linked from a system like Teamcenter, and a live plant floor view could be provided by linking to an IIoT system such as MindSphere. We could even link to documents stored in something such as a SharePoint drive or anything else accessible by a URL. But this step is important, as we do not want to duplicate data that already exists in any way, but Intosite provides a link to access that information in its intended application. And lastly, Intosite provides a common virtual meeting place so that anyone within the company can share the same viewpoint and know that they are all collaborating on the correct piece of information. Furthermore, this can help reduce the need for plant visits and travel. And Intosite even provides the ability to have a discussion directly on a piece of data, or a placemark as we refer to them. So Intosite provides this idea of a smart factory right at your fingertips. It allows companies to realize the fast entry digital twin with minimal investment. It can help to foster collaboration and sharing of best practices across factories, while also helping to aid the adoption of standardizations. Also, a better insight into your factory can be gained by providing a visual representation of your IoT systems and other IT systems to help you get a quick status of your facility just at a glance, and allowing better usage of materials and aiding to prevent line failures. Best of all, there is no installation with this application, as it is cloud-based, so there's zero IT overhead needed to start utilizing Intosite today. Now, before we get too far into a live demonstration or anything like that, I would just like to go through a few use cases here and just a few more detailed ideas on Intosite to help you wrap your brain around this vast space of possibilities that Intosite can be used for. First off, we have our most basic idea here of a use case, and it's what gives the rest of the data its ease of navigation, and that would be the factory visualization. The factory visualization brings both the virtual and physical components of visualization together to support both greenfield and brownfield factories alike, and allow a user to gain a great insight into where they might want to investigate in a facility. This visualization includes things such as a high-resolution 2D layout, 3D CAD models, and panoramic images derived from these 3D CAD models as well, using an application such as Line Designer. Additionally, the physical components of the visualization include things such as a true JPEG or PNG 360-degree image, whether that be something taken from something as simple as a camera smartphone, or something much more higher resolution, such as a professional image. We also support images from laser scans and integration with point cloud scans through a partner. Next up, just diving a little bit deeper and starting to add information onto our layout here now. This would be our linkages of many different types of information, manufacturing information, that is. Intosite, utilizing a system of linking through URLs and REST API calls, is able to support thousands of visual tags or place marks organized in a layer structure to provide the user with a much simpler visual navigation through the sea of manufacturing information that is available to them. And knowing that the quantity of manufacturing information is so great within any single company, or even just a single facility for that matter, Intosite supports things such as mass updates of place marks and advanced connectors, such as with Teamcenter and MindSphere, to aid in creating these place marks more quickly and easily, and also allowing them to be maintained with much more ease. A manufacturing individual is able to navigate to the desired location that they need within the facility and see all relevant information coming from PLM systems, IT systems, IIoT systems, and more just at a glance. So as you can see here, we're able to do a lot of different things with Intosite. But even without a lot of this information, we're able to start to take advantage of some basic facility information and start to see value from Intosite right away. For example, in this case, a brownfield factory, we can start with information that already exists within the facility, such as a plant layout. From there, we can start to capture things like maintenance records and materials, lists of spare parts, and safety information. We can continue to enhance our current facility with virtual views within the facility, reducing the need for plant floor visits and even creating live connections to the plant floor to allow for this at-a-glance view of the status of the facility through some of these IIoT connections. Think of this as maybe like your weather map for your facility as we continue to build up this factory. And lastly, we can start to utilize Intosite as a platform to support future planning for the facility with things such as line planning and simulation for our next phase of our facility. Next up, I'm going to take you just through a few more detailed use cases here on our factory digitalization journey. So here you can see we have just 9 different types of use cases that are highlighted. And these are just a handful here of many different potential uses for Intosite. But just to give you a few ideas to start to wrap your mind around how this might fit at your facility here. First off, we have the ability to virtually take plant measurements. Often, a factory engineer will need to evaluate the possibility of a change in an asset location. This requires going out to the plant floor and locating the physical equipment, and then taking these measurements. With Intosite, we have the ability to utilize panoramic images that is part of a point cloud scan to display a high-quality 360-degree image that the user can then interact with and navigate between multiple images, much like you would in Street View. Think of it as your Street View for your factory. However, with our partner integration, we're able to utilize this image as a lightweight front for the true point cloud data as well. The user can take accurate measurements of the facility from the comfort of his desk. Additionally, if further investigation of the point cloud scan is needed, with just a simple button click, you can launch into the point cloud application. This helps to reduce plant visits and in turn reduce the associated costs, as well as making workers more productive by providing this information to them in a quicker and easier fashion. Intosite also helps to foster communication from the shop floor. We will look at a short ergo study. In this case, ergo engineers need to understand the actual as-build practices to aid in new ergo analysis and directives. Normally, this would require a visit to the factory to watch and study each station. However, using Intosite, the factory is able to take a short video of the operation at each station and upload them to Intosite in a factory context. This can help get the information shared from the plant floor and communicated to those who need it in a simpler and quicker fashion to help reduce injuries. Lastly, we will jump into the idea of Intosite being a visual suite for plant apps. Factories utilize all kinds of private documents and Excels to record and track activities within the plant. These documents can be hard to access for most, and making sure each document is the most recent and up-to-date can be a struggle. Intosite can help to support that by providing a shared location to store this information. But Intosite can also support giving a more dynamic and visual view to these documents. In this case, we're in an electronics factory, and we are looking for maintenance that needs to be completed. As a maintenance lead, we can see that the status of the oven is showing as red. We can then open our maintenance checklist and see what may be causing this failure and understand what resources we need to deploy to fix the oven and complete the maintenance. Once we have deployed our resources, we can see the tasks being updated from the shop floor as they are completed. And we can see in real time the status of the oven changing on our factory layout. This provides a much more efficient way to increase operational efficiencies and deploy resources as needed. It also helps to create more transparency and more consistency through the daily tasks of our factory. With that, I would like to jump into a live demonstration just to showcase a few of the capabilities of Intosite in further detail. So as we spoke about in our realization of a brownfield facility, I'll start to build up my information here on my layout just from the very basics, starting here with what you see as the layout itself. You can see right now I'm looking at a top view of my small facility. In this case, we're going to be focusing in a body and white context. But you can picture your layout of your facility as the background for all of this information as we work through this live demonstration. So to start, I'll go ahead and open up my viewpoints panel. Now in Intosite, it's very simple and easy to just click and drag to navigate around and use your scroll wheel in the middle of the mouse to zoom in and out of your facility and your layout here. However, you might have some specific areas or zones within the factory that you want to highlight, or areas that you continually return to. So we might want to make this easier to be able to navigate around. So from here, we could maybe focus on something such as our framing zone, or maybe our left-hand body side zone. But in our case, we're going to go ahead and focus on our motor compartment zone. As we move over to this zone within our factory here, you can see we can zoom in and out of this layout and interrogate each station as we might want to see it. However, I might be looking for a very specific station, want to understand how to locate this better. For example, maybe station C050. So I'll go ahead and I'll open up my layers panel here. And you can see we have a hierarchy of information. This is how all of your information, your links that are uploaded, are organized for any individual to be able to utilize Intosite. Utilize this layer structure for data access, as well as just as the ability to separate each of these pieces of data. So first off, I'm going to go ahead and turn on these company addresses. So you can see I've now located my station C050 based on my address pin. Additionally, maybe I'm looking for station C100. I'm going to go ahead and open up the search panel here. And with just a simple click of the button, this gives me multiple locations in the facility that meet this search criteria. So I can see option B is my address. So I can go ahead and I'll select my station C100 option here for my address. And my view is now focused within the graphics area. I'm going to go ahead and use my viewpoints to return to my motor compartment as a whole viewpoint here. And I'm now going to start to turn on a few more detailed views of visualization within the facility. So once again, I'll open up my layers panel and I'm going to go ahead and turn on my panoramic images at the bottom. You can see we start to build up a lot more place marks, pieces of information here on our layout. I'm going to go ahead and locate my panoramic image that is located down within the dash panel area here and select panel 15. Now, as I enter into this panoramic image, you might notice this still looks like a virtual component here. This is a CAD-derived, in our case from Line Designer, panoramic image that's a 360-degree photosphere. So you can see I can interact and look around. I can zoom into, maybe this part stand here. And I can start to get a more truer understanding of what's going on in that facility, much better than just looking at a 2D layout. I might also be interested in, navigating around to a couple other stations within this area. So I can go ahead and use this arrow, just as you would in Street View, to be able to now locate myself in a different position within the panoramic images. Now, as I build up more data, you would also be able to see the place marks, our tags of information here, will display within the panoramic view also. So you can interact in multiple views with all of these links to different pieces of information. Now, I did also highlight that we do have the ability to support real panoramic images. So if I go ahead and I'll select this panoramic, you can see this is actually a view inside of a real factory that once again we can interact with in a very similar fashion. This is obviously a very nice high quality, high resolution panoramic image. And this can also be supported in any factory in multiple different ways. And next up, I'm going to go ahead and I'll focus my viewpoint more directly on the dash panel area now. I'm going to also start to build up some more simple information. So first off, I'm going to turn on some factory safety documentation, along with some manufacturing information and some process documents. Now this is a factory that we already have that's running, that's producing this dash panel and motor compartment area here. But I might need to go and perform some maintenance in the dash panel area. But as a maintenance technician, I do need to understand before I enter the station to perform the maintenance, what I need to do to make sure I'm entering the station safely and that I am abiding by all these safety guidelines that we have. Well, I know I need to go and perform some maintenance on station A20 here. So I can go ahead and open up my safety measures documentation here and understand the general safety measures that I need to take into account as I enter into this station. Furthermore, I might want to understand as well, if I'm going to go and perform some maintenance here, what equipment I have at this station so I understand what parts to take with me and what the exact procedure is that I need to accomplish. So here, I can go ahead and select the robot A20R01, and I can actually open up information directly from the manufacturer, once again, with just a single button click here. I could get some simple information right from KUKA's website, in this case, as we have a KUKA robot on the floor, such as maybe the payload and reach of this robot. Or I can get some more detailed information here based on the specific model that I have on my floor, as well as some further documentation that I can download maybe to take out with me onto the plant floor. If I have any further issues out there, I can get more detailed information directly from the manufacturer. I might also be interested on the floor to understand what's going on in each one of these stations here. So I can once again go ahead and select on my station A20 here, and I'll open up my process document. Now this is a simple cell overview that we have, and I can get a quick view of what is part of the station in my overall facilities layout. Maybe some information on timing within the station, as well as what parts are consumed within station 820. Now you also might notice that with the last two links, I did have to provide a Team Center login. This is actually because some of this information that I am opening, including the last two links, are actually stored within Team Center as attachments within my BOP structure. So I didn't necessarily have to have a Team Center client loaded on my machine, and I didn't even need to access that Team Center client to get a simple viewing right to this information here. However, I did still need to provide a Team Center login to access it. Moving forward, I might see some of these parts consumed, but I might also need to understand, where these parts are being delivered. Where are the product delivery points here? So I can go ahead and I'll turn on another layer here. You can see a few more place marks are populated. And I can get a simple and quick view of what the part is. In this case, it's the upper dash assembly, maybe a part number. Or I could actually go ahead and launch a full JT of this that's stored in the Team Center database to a visualization software such as maybe Team Center Viz to be able to interrogate the data in a further three-dimensional format. I had also discussed a few components of things such as a live factory floor communication. So I'll go ahead and I'm going to turn on a few status layers that we have available. Now these status place marks are actually dynamically connected to other applications that are feeding a live stream of data to Intosite to allow these to provide a quick visual cue if any further attention is needed at each one of these points. So as I zoom into some of these status place marks here, you'll see I have a few of these place marks that kind of look like stoplights. These are status place marks. They can provide things such as checklists for maybe something like a station readiness checklist for use with engineering, or they could provide an indication for things such as maintenance or current operating status on the plant floor. So first up, as we mentioned, we might need to perform some maintenance within the dash panel area earlier. We'll go ahead and check on the maintenance status of robot A20R01 here. I see that my 3-month maintenance is highlighted as yellow. It hasn't been completed yet. So I want to go ahead and understand what is still pending with this maintenance. As I open up my maintenance application here, I can see that I have a small plant checklist. And I can actually get a quick glimpse and understand what has been completed and what still needs to be completed. As this task is completed on the floor, I can also get a live view from maybe my maintenance technician who is checking these tasks off as he does complete them on the floor. And as I set this status to complete as well, you can see my overall status changes to green as well, indicating that the maintenance is complete. Well, this maintenance application is actually dynamically connected to my place mark on the plant floor, and I can actually see a live update of the completion of these maintenance tasks as they're checked off within my application. This could be linked to any different type of system that might already exist within your company. In our case, this is our maintenance checklist, but it doesn't necessarily have to be this specific one for you to be able to utilize this for a maintenance application. This also helps to provide a transparency within the factory and to help make sure everybody's on the same page and getting these tasks done in a quick fashion and making sure that we're able to have our spare parts located where they are needed and best utilize our extra resources within the factory. Also, we have the ability to see a live status view of what is going on maybe at each robot within our facility. So as you can see here, I'll go ahead and I'll locate my robot that I see is not running at optimal status right now, showing as yellow. And I will go ahead and select this place mark. From here, you can see we actually launch into a more detailed and thorough application, in our case MindSphere, to be able to interrogate why this robot is showing that yellow status. In our case, it's showing that it is due for maintenance. We can also see a more detailed view within this list based on a certain time frame to better understand how long this issue has been occurring. For example, I might jump over here to another robot as well and see that we actually have a few more urgent matters, in this case on robot A20R01. For a plant manager, being able to get this added glimpse view of seeing a status across a whole factory with this live plant floor connection allows them to better focus their resources where they need to and make sure they minimize downtime as much as possible, and that, once again, their spare parts and resources are being used as optimally as possible within the facility. Now we're going to change our focus just a little bit on the view as well here. Maybe we've noticed after a plant study that, for example, within station A50 here, we only have this part stand. Now this stand is creating a bit of backup with the main line because the robot here is having to wait until the stand is cleared before it can place another stand here. And we would like to propose maybe a solution to be able to allow this line to function more optimally and create a buffer between the dash panel area and the main line of the motor compartment zone. So we'll go ahead and we're going to propose a new change within our facility here. So in this case, you can see our stand is now highlighted in red, and we have a conveyor proposed in blue to help us create that buffer between the main line and the dash panel area. Well, Intosite, as I mentioned earlier, provides an area for collaboration, especially for engineering planning, as well as even communication from the plant floor. So I can actually go ahead and I'll select one of these place marks and start to open a discussion here. Now, if you used any sort of Facebook comments or anything like that, this discussion should be a no-brainer for you to be able to use here. We're able to actually have a discussion, in this case specifically on a piece of information or a location within the facility, and we can make sure that everybody who's part of this discussion is looking at the same viewpoint and the same piece of information here. To further investigate this change within the facility, we need to understand what equipment is available as of today and what equipment might be compatible moving forward with this change. So I'm going to go ahead and turn on another layer of information. In this case, we're going to turn on another link for station A50. I will go ahead and select this link, and this will actually start to send me into Team Center. Now, as Team Center loads here, what I'm doing is loading my entire CC of the dash panel area into Team Center here. Now, you'll see the link will actually populate each of these tabs, loading the entire CC, including our BOM, our BOP, and all of the other components here. And it actually sends me to the correct tab and partially expands me down to, in this case, station A50. From here, I can open up my visualization. And I can expand my station A50 structure to understand the current components that are included in this station as of today. And what I can also use to support this change to a conveyor moving forward that will be compatible. The nice thing here is I not only loaded the station A50 information that I needed to see to understand what's in this station, but I actually have the entire CC of the motor compartment area here to understand what will be compatible with the entire zone as a whole. Furthermore, I'm going to go ahead and I'll turn on a few additional layers here as well, such as a few different types of simulation layers that I have. And these actually support links to things such as Process Simulate, which will allow us to further investigate what this change might mean for our line and help us understand what the change will impact in our line in the virtual world before we ever have to actually apply it within the factory. So here you can see from Intosite, we're actually launching a study directly to process simulate. This will allow us to further investigate what this change to a conveyor within station A50 might mean. But it also allows us to very quickly and easily get the relevant information that we needed from the Team Center database without having to sort through a lot of different hierarchies of information. As I mentioned earlier, just that sea of manufacturing information we have. I was able to very simply and easily on my layout locate my desired location within the factory and select that study that is relevant to that location. So as you can see, my study is now loaded into Process Simulate. And once located here, I can go ahead and interact with this study as I would if I had loaded it from Team Center, as this is now the full Process Simulate application. There are no limitations here then. Now we've done our process simulation here and understood how this will affect my, my station located within the dash panel area, but we might also need to understand how this will affect the throughput of the motor compartment zone as a whole and its interaction with the main line. So I'll go ahead and open up this simulation that was put together in plant simulation as well. And if you look very closely, you can actually see the changed conveyor within this line. And we can get an idea of how our factory will continue to operate after this conveyor is installed. So in summary, I hope you've been able to see how Intosite can be your entry to the digital twin by providing an ability to help manufacturers and all their employees make better and more accurate decisions. By bringing together this visual navigation of a facility with the connectivity to all this manufacturing information and providing this place to virtually collaborate on all of these pieces of information and the decisions included within a manufacturing company. And before we wrap up this webinar, I just want to cover how quick and easy it is to get started with Intosite. Within just 3 to 5 days, you can have a facility up and running in Intosite utilizing the data you have today. Additionally, basic training for this solution would take no more than really half a day to be able to get most individuals up and running on their own as well. So with a very small investment, you can start to see value from Intosite really right away. So thank you very much. My name is Trevor Bankston, and I want to thank you for attending this webinar. If you have any questions about Intosite or if you'd like to discuss a deployment opportunity, please contact myself or Yakov Diane, and I hope you have a great day. Thank you.